7:04. Lehighton, roll call, please.
Mr. Rivers? Present. Mr. Richard Belts? Mr. David Bradley?
Here.
Mr. Stephen Holland?
Here.
Mrs. Gail Mahalik?
Here.
Mrs. Rita Spinelli? Here. Mr. Wayne Wentz?
Here.
Mr. Andy Etzer?
Here.
Mr. Larry Stern?
Here.
So 8 present, 1 absent.
You have 2 notices of executive session, one after the session on our previous meeting, January 28th at 11:15 p.m., and one right before this meeting today at 6:45 p.m. to discuss personnel. And presentation, Mr. Cleaver?
Yes, at this time, we'd like to turn it over to L-Tri-C's president, Dr. Ann Beaver, and CFO, financial head, Vance Powers.
Excuse me, Mr. Stern. You mentioned there was 2 executive sessions, one at the end of the meeting and one prior to this one.
Right.
What about last week's meeting? That was considered not an executive session? That was, what was that?
That was an interview.
It was an interview. So it wasn't a personnel committee meeting?
No.
So what, it wasn't a personnel committee meeting. You had 7 board members here.
Yeah, it was an interview session for a business manager.
Was it an open meeting?
No.
It was
It was an
closed.
advertised meeting, no.
It was unadvertised?
It was not a meeting, it was an interview.
It was not a meeting, but it had the quorum here. Is that correct? For the record, sir?
Yes.
Quorum was here.
No business was transacted.
None.
No, there was no vote,
No recommendation was made?
not as a whole.
I see an addendum onto our agenda that shows that it is. So how do we have an addendum recommendation?
Would you like to answer, Mr. Brown? Probably.
Wait, why are you answering? Because he couldn't?
Again, I asked him to respond.
I know, but why did you ask him to respond? Could you not respond, Mr.
I'm
Sherman?
not responding because I told you what the meeting was. You don't take my answers, maybe you'll take council's answers.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
Job interviews and personnel interviews are exempted from both the Sunshine Act requirement and the Right to Know Act requirement. So I don't know what your issue is, Mr. Bradley.
What section of the Sunshine Act are they exempted under?
I am citing to you the Commonwealth case of Morning Call versus the Board of School Directors.
That wasn't what I asked. I asked what part of the Sunshine Act was it under, sir?
I'm citing the case law,
Okay, it's under which act though, first?
the Sunshine Act.
I know, but what part of the Sunshine Act was this meeting considered legal?
It's case law, Mr. Bradley.
I understand, that wasn't my question, appreciate it, from the peanut gallery. But my question to you, as our solicitor, under the Sunshine Act, there's certain parts that say open meetings and closed meetings. So obviously you feel that this is available under our US law. You're gonna use case law, federal, state law?
No, state.
State law, perfect. So it's available under, I'm not an attorney, I should notice. So obviously there's a law that allows this meeting to take place. Under what section of the law did we have this meeting last week? Would you like a copy of the law?
No, Mr. Bradley, I don't. I'm telling you, you asked me what my opinion was.
Now, I'm asking for what section of the law was this meeting under? That's all I'm asking.
I'm not citing you a section.
I know, there's only a couple of them. So which section of the law was this meeting took place?
At this point, Mr. Brown.
Not Mr. Cleaver, I'm sorry, we asked counsel, let's have him answer.
And Mr. Counsel has just.
Now, he did not answer the question, sir. What he did was he diverted the question. The question is simple, under what section of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act did that meeting take place? Simple question. I can hand you a copy of the law if you need it.
Again, I think he did answer.
You don't answer, Mr. Cleaver. We asked our solicitor, he was authorized to answer. Let's allow him to answer.
Citing case law as the reason. that-
No, I'm asking him for what section, sir. I don't want case law. I don't have all day. I just need one number.
We don't have all day, and you assume to make it.
One number,
all
sir.
day.
What section of the code, what section of Pennsylvania law was this meeting held under, sir?
Again, I'm basing my opinion on this case. If you want me to.
I appreciate that. I just asked a question. It's a simple
Give me
question.
my answer.
Okay, so tell us what case you're trying to cite it under.
Morning call versus Board of School Directors, 164 PA Commonwealth case, 263.
And what section of the code of this Pennsylvania law did they take an exception from to make sure that this meeting did not have to be open to the public? And was that case law precedent setting or just law?
It's the Commonwealth Court, it's binding on all county courts.
Thank you. So what section of the Sunshine Act did they take exclusion to allow that meeting to take place? I'm looking for a section of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act that allows...
65 PS 278A1.
Thank you. At this point, we'll move.
We're still looking, where's that into the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act, sir? 65 PA 278. This ends at 16. How are you saying it goes to 278?
Can I see what you're looking at?
Sure.
Dr. Weaver, I apologize for the,
We all apologize.
it's,
No apologize to you. We're looking at why there was an executive session. Or not executive session.
Sit down.
Forecast the time.
Absolutely. It can be brought up at another time.
Excuse me, sir, are we dealing with this or do you want to talk to the people that are screaming?
Could you be quiet, please?
No.
Mr. Filer, can you research out when Ms. Beaver gives her presentation?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that acceptable, Mr. Riley?
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for.
Mr. Bradley, to follow up with your question,
No, thank you.
the Sunshine Act was updated in 1998. The same language from 65 PS 278A1 is found in 65, 78, 708A and 707A.
708A is an executive session. And then what was the other one? 708A is an executive session. And what was the other one? 707A, which is an executive session. We were already told that it was not an executive session. It was a meeting. Specifically, not an executive session. Where was the conflict? And thank you for your candor.
There's no conflict.
Mr. Stern mentioned that it was not an executive session, specifically made sure it was not an executive session. In the meeting, it was told it was not an executive session. Straw votes were taken, illegal in an executive session. Recommendations were made, illegal in an executive session. So it can't be an executive session. It has to be something else, Mr. Filer. Please tell me
Everything
something.
we just discussed was found by the Commonwealth Court to be appropriate in this executive session.
No, sir, the straw votes were taken. You cannot take votes in an executive session, correct, sir?
I believe in this case, they said you could.
You can take a vote inside of an executive session.
There was no straw vote taken.
There was a straw vote taken,
Again,
sir.
There wasn't.
Just,
How did you make this recommendation, Mr. Cleve?
sorry, can I finish
Sure.
quoting the Commonwealth Court? Just because a vote is taken in an executive session does not mean that its official action is assigned by the Sunshine Act.
Correct. But does it allow straw votes to be taken inside of an executive session?
It just-
Can you deliberate and take a vote in an executive session, sir?
I just read to you what the Commonwealth Court said. Just because a vote is taken in an executive session does not mean that its official action is defined by the Sunshine Act.
Correct.
So if it's not official action, then I believe we're fine.
You think, okay, so you're telling me that it was an executive session contradicting what Mr. Cleaver and Mr. Stern said. Is that our new official? Mr. Stern, you gotta change your mind, it's now an executive
No, I
session?
changed my mind, it was an interview.
I know. Executive session or
It was
not?
an interview. It was an interview.
Not an executive session.
It was an interview.
He's saying executive
It
session.
was an interview.
He's just our advisor. Which one are you gonna
I
pick?
take my advice, it was an interview,
Well,
and I'm done.
you can't have an interview meeting. You can either have an executive
Mr.
session.
Bradley, just because you don't like Mr. Stern's answer, doesn't mean that you have to sit there and harass him to get the answer exactly as you want.
We're looking for an official answer, Mr. Answer, not a rubber stamp answer. We're looking for an official answer,
He
sir.
gave you the answer, you
And
didn't
what,
like it,
no,
stop harassing him.
we're not. Let's try to understand. We asked our solicitor for advice.
I'm not gonna.
Now we're gonna
explain
listen to
it
the
again.
advice, and Mr. Stern's either gonna take his advice or not take his advice, because we're the board. So, is the board,
Again, just to clarify, my advice was that there was nothing wrong with the manner in which the district conducted its meeting.
because you said it was an executive session? 7:07,
My understanding,
7:08.
the law says that there was not an issue there.
So the only way it could be not be an issue is if it was either under 7:07 or 7:08, which is an executive session.
You're making a leap.
I'm not making a leap, I'm asking a question. You're saying the only way it can be illegal is if it was an executive session, is that correct?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, so, Mr. Stern, did we have an executive session or not? The reason is, bear with me, if we had an executive session, we had to announce it today at the beginning of this meeting.
Because you're trying to catch us again.
Yes, it's a gotcha moment, sir.
That's all it is catch 101.
It's gotcha. I want to follow the law. I want to follow the law. I want you to follow the law. I don't want you to be immune from the law. I want you to follow the law.
Again, can
We all follow the law.
So did we have an executive session and did we announce it?
Could you stop? End of discussion.
No, I want to know, if you had an executive session, Mr. Stern, you had to announce it at the beginning of this meeting. Correct, Mr. Filer?
No, the next time that group met in an open meeting,
Which is today.
no, because it was not the board that met, it was the entire interview.
No, the board met. We had a quorum.
Yeah, but there was more people there, wasn't there, Mr. Bradley?
No, sir. We excluded people from coming. We blocked people from coming. We escorted them out.
Yeah, but
The police were going to be called and threatened by Mr. Cleaver to be removed if they
Not
stayed.
the case. Stop.
Yes, sir.
Not the case.
Not the case.
Closed meeting sessions are, it's right here, I have it right here on my internet, it says, for personal matters including hiring, promoting, and disciplining.
And what section that's in, sir?
It says 65 PA,
Yep.
708A.
708A.
65 PA.
What is 708, sir? An executive session. It's an executive session.
We're talking about personnel.
It's an executive session.
But it says hiring.
I know, but it's an executive session.
Hiring.
I understand.
Mr. Stern, why don't you just adjourn this and get on with the agenda? He is just causing a chaos. Why don't you just get on with the agenda?
Just announced that it was an executive session.
We're trying, thank you.
On the courtesy of the floor, Mr. Bradley.
Wait, you're not going to announce that it was an executive session? So it was not one?
No.
What do you
It's an
mean?
interview.
So it was,
According to solicitor's report that we've always had, it is a fair and just process to have an interview without the public's comment.
sir, only if
Don't
I-
serve me. Just take it. You're up on the courtesy of the floor.
Thank you. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Our superintendent, without full disclosure to the board, admitted to offering and accepting the position of business manager prior to board approval, and this board was provided with the 5-page contract for employment 15 minutes before this meeting by the administration we were elected to oversee. This board was not provided all the applicant's information and instead was asked here to rubber stamp in a blind trust the contract and applicant recommended by our superintendent without the input of our stakeholders. This board is abdicating their authority to the very entity we were elected to oversee, which is a moral failure.